So welcome to Promote, Profit, Publish. I have another great guest today. I say that about all my guests, but they really are all really great. My guest today is Debbi Dachinger, and she is a media personality and a media visibility expert who has been interviewed in over 1,000 media outlets. That's a lot. Is that all you do?
No, believe it or not.
She's a syndicated award-winning radio and podcast host and recently nominated for 2 People's Choice Podcast Awards. She interviews celebrities on the red carpet, is a keynote speaker, a certified coach, is an author of 3 international best-selling books. And we're going to ask her what she does in her spare time because I'm curious now. As a media visibility authority, Debbi coaches people on how to write page-turning books and runs a company that guarantees your book will become an international bestseller. She also teaches the ultimate visibility formula, which we're going to give you an opportunity to get into later. How to be interviewed on radio and podcast shows in 60 days or less. Now in its 12th year, Debbi hosts a syndicated Dare to Dream podcast, plus works with clients on their visibility strategy and how they can use free PR to become known as the go-to expert. She's a popular media guest and speaker and is a keynote at high-level national events, a radio and TV personality, and has been in the news and documentary films, the covers of magazines, and is regularly featured contributor in published magazine. Debbi, when do you sleep?
Definitely at night. No, I mean, like anybody else who's an entrepreneur, there's part of this is if it was going to be one thing, my personality would be totally different. I'm so creative, and this is my wheelhouse. For me, Juliet, like all of these are woven together. The book aspect, the interview aspect, the podcasting, the bestseller. It's everything I do, so it's very simple for me to offer it to people that I coach. Outside of that, like the red carpet stuff, well, that comes up now and then. That's not a constant. And some of the other elements, I just got a call from somebody this morning who's a pretty high-end name, and they want to start a podcast, and they said, will you coach me? They had been interviewed on my show, and she walked away and said, you're the most professional. And I'm not tooting my own horn. It's just relationships are everything. She said, you're the most professional person who interviewed me. Can I hire you for a day to come out to Malibu and coach me so I can do a podcast? And that's not even typically something in my wheelhouse I do, but I was so honored, and I want to keep developing a relationship with this individual. So I'm like, hell yeah, send the calendar. Let's do this. Plenty of time for me to sleep and have fun. Trust me.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. So with so many people coming out with radio and podcast shows, how do you get on other people's shows? I mean, I know, a lot of times you can use your own podcast to leverage those relationships, but just in general, for a beginner, how do you get out there and get those interviews?
Right. So I'm not a huge person on the I'll do this for you, you do that for me, podcaster to podcaster, and I know it's big. So for those who use it and it works, that's awesome. It doesn't work for me because my show is booked 6 months to a year in advance.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel awkward. I can't always reciprocate. However, as far as getting booked on the merit of just who you are, I want to be really clear, especially for beginners that you're alluding to. You don't have to have a huge platform. You don't have to have a huge following. You just have to know how to do the process right. And what I mean by right, like knock, knock, I'm here, I'd like to be on your show. You want to get a heck yes. And the heck yes is how you go about it. I would not suggest you go on social media and write on someone's Facebook page or
like I did with her. No, I'm just kidding.
For people who've been doing this a really long time, you essentially want to know that the invitation is coming through a channel and you can follow the breadcrumbs. For me, it's email. So I want an email that lets me know you know my show. For instance, somebody once wrote to me about a client, a publicist, and they talked about, this amazing stuff they were doing in stock trading. It's like you couldn't possibly be familiar with my show, Dare to Dream, about transformation if you want to talk about stock trading. Like, it's just, I don't talk business and that aspect of money, maybe more spiritual, metaphysical about money. So know the person's show, say something intimate to them, meaning, Debbi, I listened to Dare to Dream, and I love the episode that you did with Carol and Mace when you were talking about archetypes and da-da-da, boom. Now we have a relationship. Then, and keep it small, simple. I don't need a litany, please. I don't have time, but definitely let me know, this is who I am and what I've done. I don't need the full bio, but just really succinctly, why are you fabulous? You know, are you a visibility expert? Do you coach writing books? What do you do? And then what are you going to bring to my audience? 3 bullet points is all I need. Something that you know that nobody else does. And try to capture it a bit in a headline that will be compelling and make me curious. Like, I want to talk to you. I want to know that information. Then make sure when you sign it off, you let me know. I'm happy to send you a copy of my book should you be interested. I would be happy to do call-ins if you like to go that way. I promised to promote you on my social media platforms. And I even had a gal who wrote to me and said, I just left you a 5-star review on Apple and Google Podcasts. You know, we love this stuff because we work hard, and it's nice that you care and you take a moment. And then sign it off and leave all your information, your phone number, your email, your website, your social media connects. All of that makes it so easy. And if you want to bump it to the next level, attach your media one sheet. This way, if I say, Juliet, you're on, there's almost nothing I need to do. I've got your headshot, your bio, all of this in your media one sheet, your talking points. I mean, I'm ready to rock and roll, really.
That is such great advice. I actually do have a lot of PR people reach out as well. And that's one of my pet peeves is I love choosing my own people. I spend time on LinkedIn scouring for, to choose the people for my show. How do you feel about the PR people that reach out? Do you notice that a lot of them have actually listened to your show and know what you do? Because I don't.
I would have to agree with you. I don't. I know I'm in a category, so some of them know that category. I have some really good relationships, without a doubt, with some PR people, some publicists.
Mm-hmm.
And because they are intimate and their guests, their clients have been guests on my show, it's so easy with us. And then I have some that are a higher tier. I have a real relationship. Like, I've gone out to dinner with them, or they've invited me to workshops. Like, we really know each other. And if they need something, I'll do it because I know they represent amazing people. Then there's this level, the bottom of the ocean dwellers who God bless them. I mean, they're working hard for their money, but it's a bit like pasta on the wall and seeing who's going to stick. They don't know my show. And to your point, Juliet, besides not knowing my show, I don't know if you've noticed too, but those are the people, you don't get an email like that you can scan and know immediately, yeah, let me write back, this is a good fit. It just goes on. And it's like, Mamma mia, I don't need all that.
Yeah, I'm a writing coach. I could put that into a book now. Right?
That's it. Chapter 1.
Chapter 1 about me. For those of you who didn't catch that, Debbi is also a writing coach. So somebody's writing her a story in advance of the show. So what are some of the other things that people can do with their podcast or getting on as a guest to be really effective and to be visible everywhere?
Yeah, I would say the 2 most prevalent things are being unique. And I would say the other piece is really the connection. I am a relationship person, period. Mm-hmm. So the moment someone develops a relationship with me, it's a game changer. And I don't mean that they have to appease to me somehow, but I mean a real relationship. I am telling you, I had a health and fitness gal reach out to me, which is typically not someone I would think about putting on my show. But she wrote the most heart-based, adorable email. It was clear she really had listened to my show. It was clear she really knew she was writing to me. It was super short. And just, I felt like this effervescence, this joy coming from her. And what happened was somebody canceled. Somebody had to reschedule, which happens very rarely, but there I was. Oh, I got a show next week. Guess who I called? And that is, I have a folder on email. I'm sure I've got well over 200 people who have written to me, plus publicists. And out of all those people, she's the one I remembered, and she got booked on the show. So that's one thing, is really create a relationship. We don't want to stock email. We get them all the time. We all know the formula.
Do you mean stock, SOCK, or stalk, STALK?
I've had stock, by the way. That's another story. Not often, but I have, and it's really unattractive.
Oh, no.
I mean, if you haven't heard from somebody once, you can write again. If you have not heard a second time, please bless them and keep going. They're just either too busy or their show is full and you're not a fit. It's not personal, but I have been stalked before, and it was by a gentleman who wrote a book, and it was really unattractive. And in fact, the more he did it, it's like, you're never going to get booked now. Yeah, he would even go on my Facebook page, and if I wrote something, he'd write back again, not being booked on your show. It's like, yeah, let it go, dude. Like, if you know the system, by the way, if you really know how to get booked, getting on my show, anybody's show, can't matter that much, because you have a plethora. I mean, it's exponential what's available to you. So you should never key in on somebody. But yes, it is about stock, because there are stock emails that people fill in, just like every other form and formula in entrepreneurship, to send something out. But the problem is then those start going out so much that we see those over and over. So I would say make it really connecting, for real, warmth, something unique that's going to make me know you, feel you, understand you, like you. And the unique part is, look, there can be 17 people out there who talk about money, but what bumps you up? What do you know about money that I don't? I just was coaching a gal the other day. She does private coaching with me about how to be interviewed, and she's in a very advanced level. And we were talking about sound bites and storytelling and statistics and all of that. And so we were working on our story, and this is the second time we're going back to work again on the story. And she just happened to be sharing with me off record, right? And she said, Deb, the thing that is really interesting about money is that I grew up feeling that there was a secret, and I never knew the secret about money. And she started telling me a little bit about what happened when she grew up. And then as she got older and she was finding, like, money is a secret, everybody seems to have it, but I don't understand the way to have it. Then she became an entrepreneur, and nobody's talking about their numbers. So you don't really know what people make, but you think everyone's got money. And I'm like,
no,
stop. That's the story.
Right.
That's the story, because I was so compelled. I was like, I could hit record right now. We can do an entire show. So understand, 17 people could talk about money. But what she did, unbeknowingly, that was different, was the secret about money. And doesn't everybody feel that way at some point? Like, how do you have it and I don't? And how do I make my business work? And how do those people live in that house? There's always that feeling that makes you feel a little locked out, that people will resonate with. Or maybe they have money and they have the feeling from the other perspective, like, I don't even know how to teach people about this. It's such a weird secret that my family came about this. So that the point about being unique, and I hope I'm driving this home, is your subject may be the same, but find what you know that you can elevate that will cause all of us to go, well, I want to know more. Come tell me, come be on my show.
Yeah, it's really your hook. It's that difference. I have the same. I'm known for, I killed my ex-husband in my first book. So, people think, wow, that's kind of cool. So, but you have, I mean, that's just part of, stop laughing. I know it's funny. But it's that thing that kind of sets you apart from what you do, that creative, for me, I'm a sociopath. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I have to say, with my coaching to write a book, obviously there are many coaches out there, and I'm sure they're quite good. Mm-hmm. The one thing that separates me, And it's because of passion, is because I believe if we're going to write a book, we should write a page turner.
Mm-hmm.
In these days when so many people are using books as a business calling card, there's more authors than ever. People are putting out books that aren't fully edited. You know, I could say a lot about that.
Mm-hmm.
However, to have that pride, writing takes so much time. It takes so much heart and so much discipline. Why not write a page turner? Because it'll do its own PR on your behalf. People will be standing around the cooler and saying, I meant to go to sleep at midnight, but that darn book, I had to stay up till 1 a.m. and read the next chapter. So there are pieces of what I do in book coaching that I feel like they're just indigenous, because if you're going to write a book, make it fabulous. If you're going to write a book, understand the structure of writing a book properly. Like, who is the protagonist and what makes them fabulous and what creates tension? And like, I love teaching all of that, because we can take the inception of a book, an idea, and really crank it up into something magnificent. So that's something I would talk about on someone else's show that would make me unique than other people.
And I love what you just did there, because those are a lot of the elements of fiction brought to nonfiction. That we don't really, a lot of nonfiction coaches don't get into. So it does make it a page turner, like a mystery novel. So that's really fabulous. I love that you have like that whole thing rocked together, because as a page turner, you understand how to translate that into how you're going to promote that book, which most people don't wait to do it until the end. And it's very annoying. You can always tell on social media somebody who hasn't built a platform, because it's buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, to the point where you just want to delete them because they're annoyingly spamming you now. So how do they get around that when they're working with you?
Oh gosh, thank you for bringing that up. It's so true. And like Juliet is saying, there's also, you might have seen this yourselves out in social media. All of a sudden, you'll hear from somebody who you're quote unquote, air quotes, friends with, but you actually have had no connection with at all. And suddenly they'll go, here's my book. It costs this much. It's buy it for all your friends. And you're like, I don't even know you. Why would I? This is so strange. So it's not the way to do it. The way to do it is to have a timeline. Doing a book properly is timeline. 95% of doing a book is after the book. And this is so like, for writers, because you put so much into it, but truly 5% is writing the book. 95% is what happens after. You must have the after. I would say about the time you have the idea for the book, start lining up. Who do you want your marketing team to be? I would say don't do it yourself. I've done that.
Oh, don't do it yourself.
It's a soul killer. It's a lot of work. But, get a great marketing team, get some references. We do that. I've got a team that does that. The point is, take it off your plate so you can be your brilliant self. Write your book. Understand your timeline about when does the book cover come about? When are you going to look for endorsements? Well, I would tell you to do the formatting right up front before you even start typing. And most people don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
It'll save you tremendous time if you're typing into a formatted book. What else? Know the platform where you're going to release it. Is it going to be on Amazon? Is it going to be on, there's obviously a lot of choices out there now. Are you going to go through a regular publisher? I would have people at the ready, including an editor, because editors could get very, very busy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you find somebody fantastic that you feel comfortable with, whether it's going to be developmental editing, which you want to bring them in earlier, or if it's going to be a copy editor and you can wait till later, you just need to know the timeline. But there are elements of what we're speaking about that need to start occurring way before the writing, the first draft of the book is done being written.
Would you explain the difference there of those two kinds of editors? Because I actually use a really deep editor. I start from the beginning because I suck as a writer, but I'm a great storyteller. So knowing that about yourself too helps. Can you explain the difference so people know when they should hire each?
Yeah, it depends. I would say, so a developmental editor literally helps you develop your writing and the book. So
Mhm.
you bring them in at the inception because you're basically giving them, well, everybody works different, but I'll be very generic about this. Let's say you've written your chapter and you send it off to the editor. They're going to read through it, or maybe they prefer to get a chunk so they can get the complete overview and they can start giving you the feedback, no, this needs to be moved, no, this needs to be taken out, the way you're expressing this can be changed, I think you're missing the point here. I mean, they really get into your writing. They're a true writing editor. A copy editor does more of the proofing. So you bring them in at the end, and that's more, you're missing the syntax, your tenses, typos, repeated words. Maybe this should have been a paragraph. One that's very interesting, because I actually do some copy editing on the side. It's just in the blood. My mother was a proofreader, editor professionally, so it's honestly just in the blood. But one of the interesting ones is when you have quotations, right? Maybe somebody's speaking in the book, and it's like, where do you put that comma?
Oh
And
gosh.
right?
Yeah.
So I always put the comma. So the quotation, somebody says something, comma, end quotation. But some people put it outside of the quotation. And I actually think it's more correct to put it inside, as well as if you have a period or a semicolon and so forth. So there are things like that a copy editor, that's their wheelhouse to look out for. Either way, both editors read your entire work. Developmental tends to be more expensive because they're really like rolling up their sleeves and they're right in the trenches with you as you're writing, helping to develop your book with you.
Hmm. Yeah, very much. That's why I use that, because I tend to write the way I speak, and I speak in smart ass. So a lot of times they come in and clean it up a little.
I love that you know that about yourself, by the way. That's very powerful to know what your genius is and rely on that and let the rest go. You don't have to be genius at everything. Being a genius at storytelling, that's a big accomplishment. If that's just you, like something that comes out of you very easily, and you can capitalize on that. And I love the fact that you do, and then you let the rest go to an editor who pulls the rest of the story, the rest of the book along for you.
That,
Like, that's pretty powerful.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. I was always the one who could talk us out of going to jail in high school. So it's almost innate that I've done that since childhood.
Oh, we miss being friends in high school. Let me tell you, double trouble.
Yeah, we probably did. And that's probably why neither of us have gone to jail. So, well, I'm assuming here. I don't know. I haven't. I don't know about you.
I haven't. That's
So
good.
you have a program coming up at the end of the year. Do you want to
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about it and how they can get in touch? And you had a free gift too.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. The Ultimate Visibility Formula is coming up. And this is how to be interviewed on radio and podcast in 60 days or less, even if you have no prior publicity knowledge. And even if you don't know where the shows are, I provide all of that for you. And by the time people leave the class, it's live with me. So you get real life coaching, you build amazing community. And what Ultimate Visibility Formula does, it takes people from wherever they're performing or not performing right now, but people who really want to be interviewed, and it gives you the entire system. So you get everything that we talked about in the beginning. You get your media kit, your email together, 17 plus pages of where the shows and contacts are. You get privately coached by me. People who sign up get a session with me, a $500 value media strategy session, one-on-one, as my gift. Because it's actually an important part of the class. I feel like to work with a class is one thing, but unless I really get deep with you, that's where the movement happens so quickly for everybody. And the thing that I do that's interesting, Juliet, the class was the class, but I did all this marketing research, and I found so many people are coming to me and saying, that's great, but when I get booked on podcasts, the truth is I don't know how to articulate who I am and what I do.
Oh, wow.
So I made a choice, and the last classes have all started with, what is your message? So we all get clear. Everybody leaves knowing exactly how to say in 30 seconds with power, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I provide, this is what I stand for, and this is how I stand out. for people who are feeling the call of the wild and are interested, go to debbid.net/visibility. I'll spell it out because my name is different. It's DEBBI, no E, DEBBID.net/visibility. And for those who are interested, I'm gifting you with a very content-filled, value-based video of me telling you about how to get interviewed. This is my gift to you. Go to that same site, just scroll down, debbid.net/visibility, and enjoy that video. I mean, I went for it, right? I just turned on the camera. It's like, how could I teach people the most and move them forward quickly so they have a lot of ease in this visibility and being interviewed on media arena. So my gift to you, debbid.net/visibility.
Oh, thank you. And you mentioned when your course is, correct? It starts in
Yes,
January?
the next one is starting January 8th.
Okay, very good. So
Mhm.
put that on your 2020 goal list. If that's something you really want to do, get
Oh, yeah.
started now with the free gifts because it's going to move. December's going to move quickly and you need to be ready for 2020. Debbi, thank you. You've been a fabulous guest. I still love the thing. Look at the painting behind her. It's so cool. You just got that. So thank you. I appreciate you being on.
Thanks, Juliet. This has been amazing. Appreciate it.